and other matters that occur which create confusion for the children is the relationship we have with our in-laws. When we have a healthy relationship with our in-laws, then naturally the children will have a healthy relationship with us as well. But when there is chaos and confusion, when it comes to the relationship with in-laws, in that particular case, there will be chaos and confusion when it comes to our own children. Let me inform you, in Islam, once a couple are married, you don't interfere with their decisions. You don't interfere with their decisions. Even if it is your son or your daughter, you can try and suggest something to them, but it is wrong for you to make decisions for them. And this message is for parents who have children who are married. Parents who have children who are married need to understand that let them live their lives. Let them make their decisions. When you were young, you made your decisions. Now it's their turn to make their decisions. Their children's upbringing is their business, not yours. Now they are married. They need to start a life of their own. Many marriages are suffering great turbulence. A lot of them even break because of interference from parents on both sides. And it's a fact. It really is a fact. Across the globe this is a problem. And we don't understand as Muslims. Take a look at the Prophet ﷺ. He never ever interfered. He never ever interfered with any of his daughters' husbands. And he never interfered in their lives, not even once. I want to give you one true example of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. You know, his daughter was Aisha radiallahu anha. She was married to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One day he passed the room of Aisha radiallahu anha. One day Abu Bakr, who is the father of Aisha, passed the room of Aisha. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was there, and they were... Aisha radiallahu anha had raised her voice, and it sounded like it was like a discussion with a debate. It sounded like that. And Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he knocked the door. He was allowed to go in. He was permitted to go in. He went in. He did not ask questions. You know, most of us, when there is a problem with our children and their spouses, we side with our children. Some people say, my daughter is right, always. You are wrong. And some people say, my son is right. You are wrong. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu did not ask questions. He didn't even know what was happening. He thought there is a debate going on here. My daughter is being disrespectful. He went in and he admonished her. He admonished her. He admonished her to the degree that she began to weep. Then he went away. Few minutes later, he was passing the same room and he heard them laughing. He heard them laughing. So he knocked the door and he says, Ashrikani, this is the Arabic term, fi silmikuma. Can you allow me to take part in your peace in the same way you made me take part in your war a few minutes ago? Moments ago I came in and I took part in your war, which means the term war is used, but it was not a war, meaning when there was a problem, I came in. Now when you people are happy, can I come in again? And the Prophet ﷺ began to laugh and he explained to him, look, there was no problem at all. You overreacted. There was no problem at all. But why I'm mentioning this is, if we are to interfere, it should only be to rectify our side. That's the interference. To rectify, to admonish, to be strict. But we cannot begin to make decisions for others. You know, many women complain that sometimes our in-laws don't allow us to be mothers. What does that mean? I'm talking about my part of the world. But I'm sure even in Sri Lanka, everyone has 5 fingers, isn't it? So we've got the same problems. The poor lady has had a child. Now, normally there is a postnatal depression that a lot of women go through because of the vast, sudden change in body. And one person says, you know what, give the child formula milk. The other person says, give the child this type of milk. The other one says, breastfeed the child like this. The other one says, no, give them water. The poor lady is totally confused. What do I do? You'll find a whole bucket of all sorts of things, and every little while she's trying one thing and the other. And the child is all sick now. Why? Because there is chaos. Let the mother do what she wants. Really, you can advise her, you can tell her, but you cannot instruct her. She is the mother. And some people get so passionate, they don't allow mothers to be mothers. They want to be the mothers. Everyone wants to be the mother. And this is a sickness. It is happening across the globe. We need to rectify it, because we will not be able to move forward and progress as Muslims unless and until we understand what parenthood is all about. Imagine I have to interfere in my grandchildren every time, and that trend continues for generations and generations. So rather the grandparents decide that we are now the parents, finished. We can change the terminology and call parents grandparents and grandparents parents. With all due respect to grandparents. Then there is another problem, and that is the sandwich that a lot of men are put into. Why? Because on one hand you have your parents. Those are your parents. You are the child. And on the other hand, you have your wife and your children. Now, where to go? Because now there is a discrepancy between the two. Should I listen to my parents or should I listen to my wife? You are now a parent yourself. Your parents have a position which will never ever drop in Islam. They have a very high, lofty position. But where they are reasonable, you will listen to what they say. Where they are not reasonable, you will explain to them like a man. To say that, do you know what? Thank you very much. I really appreciate your advice and so on. Even if you don't want to tell them, you know, I'm not going to accept what you're saying. Don't say that. Tell them, no, I understand, I appreciate, I've heard what you said, and you know, Jazakumullah, thank you very much for your advice and so on. But where they are unreasonable, you do not have to take it. You only take that which is reasonable. Sometimes some people say, look, you know what? And this is a fact. My mother comes first because paradise lies under her feet. I agree. Your mother definitely does come first. But if the paradise is there in the first place, some mothers have hell beneath their feet. May Allah protect us. What this means is, if her life is un-Islamic, what paradise do you want under her feet? She will begin to tell you to do things which are detrimental to your own self. Then you want to use this excuse to continue listening to what she's saying. She will land you in the same place she has landed. So paradise beneath the feet is correct only when we ensure that whatever we are saying or doing is within the limits of Islam. And what I am telling you this evening is connected to Islam. We are Muslims. Many people have so many problems. You know, today we are speaking about parent-child relation. Are you seeing how I have brought into the topic how parents themselves are children of others? So the parent-child relation can go through for a few generations sometimes. If you have a great-grandparent who's alive, then there is a parent-child, parent-child, parent-child relation of 3 generations. Where do you draw the line? You need to give the freedom to those who are married to live their lives according to what they feel is correct, on condition that it is within the Islamic limits. The minute they decide we don't want to read Salah, you tackle them. The minute they decide we don't want to dress Islamically, you tackle them. You can interfere. The minute they decide we don't want to read the Quran and the Sunnah, you tackle them. You can interfere. But whether or not they want to eat out or in is not your business.